Is it possible for a talent to be so immense that the industry's biggest stage actually becomes its smallest cage? In 2020, a 14-year-old girl walked onto the America's Got Talent All-Stars stage, barefoot and unassuming, only to deliver a rendition of Bohemian Rhapsody that didn't just earn a golden buzzer. It redefined what we thought reality TV could produce. But behind the standing ovations and rare, speechless gaze, a corporate storm was brewing. Despite being the clear of millions, Jordan didn't walk away with the trophy. The question isn't just how she lost, but why the most powerful judges in entertainment were seemingly powerless to stop her exit. As we peel back the layers of the superfan voting system and the ironclad contracts that govern these shows, a much more clinical and calculated picture emerges. It's a story of corporate gatekeeping, creative defiance, and a legal battle that nearly silenced a generation's greatest voice before it could truly begin. While the golden buzzer is marketed as a ticket to superstardom, for Jordan, it may have been the very thing that painted a target on her back. In the world of televised talent competitions, the golden buzzer is the ultimate validation, yet in this case, it served as a high-definition distraction from the mechanics of the superfan voting system. Unlike the standard seasons where the American public cast their votes via app or phone, the Champions and All-Stars formats utilize a hand-picked panel of superfans from all 50 states. This system has long been criticized by industry analysts for its lack of transparency and its susceptibility to producer influence. Reports suggest that these voters are often guided by narrative arcs rather than raw talent alone. When was eliminated before the top three, the backlash was unprecedented. Digital forensics on social media trends during the finale showed that her engagement metrics were triple those of the eventual winner. This discrepancy fueled intense speculation that the superfans acted as a buffer for the network, allowing them to bypass a contestant who was already too big to be molded. The reality of the situation is that a win on AGT comes with a specific set of obligations that a prodigy with her own management team and a pre-existing global brand simply didn't fit. The judges' praise was genuine, but their votes were essentially ceremonial in a system designed to the controllable underdog over the established powerhouse. This wasn't just a loss, it was a clinical exclusion from a corporate circle that realized they couldn't own the rights to a star that had already risen. To the executives in the boardroom, wasn't a singer to be celebrated. She was a sovereign entity that refused to be integrated into their profit-sharing machinery. By the time the final envelope was opened, the industry had already decided that her path would have to be forged far away from their spotlight. Winning a reality show is often described as a dream come true, but for a performer the fine print of that dream looked more like a professional nightmare. To understand why the judges couldn't save, one must look at the standard and music contracts that accompany an AGT victory. These agreements are notoriously restrictive, often granting the label near total control over a winner's image, song choice, and touring schedule for years. Jordan, however, was not a blank slate. Having already won Norway's Got Talent at age 7, she arrived in Hollywood with a sophisticated understanding of her own brand and a refusal to compromise on her jazz-rooted soul. Sources close to the production have hinted that during the final weeks of the competition, there were significant creative differences regarding her potential post-show trajectory. While the show's producers allegedly wanted to pivot her toward a more commercial, high-energy pop sound to maximize immediate streaming revenue, remained steadfast in her commitment to her timeless, melancholic style. This resistance reportedly led to a contractual stalemate. If a contestant is unwilling to sign the long-term management and recording deals offered by the show's partners, the incentive for the network to crown them the winner evaporates. From a purely business perspective, the show exists to launch a product they can profit from indefinitely. When made it clear she was an artist first and a product second, she became a liability to the bottom line. The judges might have seen a legend, but the executives saw a difficult talent who wouldn't play by the rules of the industry's most profitable game. This essentially sealed her fate before the final envelope was even opened. The disappearance that followed wasn't a lack of interest from the public, but a strategic retreat by the artist as she realized the price of the crown was her very identity. Most fans saw her bare feet as a quirky stylistic choice, but to the industry executives, it was a symbol of a defiance they could not break. After her controversial exit from the show, did eventually sign with Republic Records, a powerhouse label home to some of the biggest names in the world. However, the honeymoon phase was remarkably short-lived. The central conflict remained her refusal to conform to the industry standard for young female stars. The label reportedly pressured her to adopt a more contemporary, synth-heavy sound and a tick-friendly aesthetic, but stood her ground. Her signature of performing barefoot, a tribute to a shoeless girl she met as a child, was more than a gimmick. It was her anchor to reality. When the label attempted to modernize her image, the friction reached a breaking point. This period, which many fans refer to as the quiet years, saw a significant drop-off in her releases. Behind the scenes, it wasn't a lack of creativity, but a battle for creative autonomy. The scandal here isn't just about a TV show loss. It's about how the modern music industry attempts to strip the soul away from unique voices to fit them into a pre-calculated algorithm. Eventually moved toward a more independent path, but the transition was fraught with legal hurdles. This creative fracture highlighted a grim reality. Even with the backing of the world's most famous judges, an artist's greatest struggle often begins the moment the stage lights go out. The silence that followed her TV appearances wasn't a failure to launch. It was a strategic retreat into a legal foxhole as she fought to regain the rights to her own voice. Analysts now look back at her sparse discography during this era not as a sign of creative block, but as evidence of a talent being shelved because she refused to be a puppet. The real reason she vanished was simply that she refused to speak if the words weren't her own. While the world wondered where the girl with the golden voice had gone, she was actually locked in a high-stakes legal battle that threatened to erase her career entirely. By early 2025, the struggles took a much darker and more litigious turn. Investigative reports began to surface regarding a complex web of lawsuits involving international performance rights and a specific dispute with European broadcasters. The Norwegian conflict, as it became known in legal circles, reportedly involved a $13,000 dispute over unpaid royalties that spiraled into a much larger battle over her intellectual property. During this time, entered a total media blackout. Her social media accounts went stagnant, and scheduled appearances were cancelled without explanation. It was later revealed that this wasn't just about money. It was about security threats and aggressive litigation tactics used by former associates to keep her from performing independently. In the industry, this is often referred to as shelving an artist, making it legally impossible for them to work until they give in to the label's demands. The sheer intensity of these legal wars would have broken most performers, but it became the fire that forged her current independence. The fact that the AGT judges, many of whom have their own labels and production companies, remained silent during this period spoke volumes. The industry protects its own interests, and when a talent decides to go rogue and fight for their rights, the support from the establishment often vanishes. This blackout was the lowest point in her journey, a moment where the scandal transitioned from a TV show snub to a fight for professional survival. For over a year, one of the world's most gifted vocalists was effectively muzzled by a legal system that corporate entities over individual creators. But as it turns out, the silence wasn't a surrender. It was the quiet before a massive, independent storm. In a world obsessed with being seen, Jordan's most brilliant move was her decision to disappear, only to reappear on her own terms. Now in 2026, the narrative has shifted from what happened to Jordan to how did she win the war. After successfully navigating the legal minefield of the previous years, has emerged as a pioneer for independent artists. Her recent moves have completely bypassed the traditional industry gatekeepers who once tried to suppress her. The most shocking development has been her Vegas blackout residency. Unlike typical residencies that rely on massive social media blitzes and televised promotions, shows have been shrouded in an intentional lack of digital footprint. No phones are allowed, no clips are leaked, and tickets are sold through a private fan network. This has created a level of prestige and mystery that the manufactured stars of AGT could never achieve. She is reportedly outturning her previous major label projections by nearly 400%, by owning 100% of her masters and merchandise. This independent revenge serves as a scathing indictment of the reality TV machine. The judges couldn't save her because the system they represent was designed to harvest her, not help her. By walking away from the trophy and fighting through the legal accusations and corporate shelving, she has proven that a golden buzzer is just gold-plated lead if it comes with the price of your soul. Jordan didn't lose America's Got Talent, she survived it. And in the process, she's shown every aspiring artist that the biggest stage in the world is the one you build for yourself, far away from the cameras and the voting booths. The saga of Jordan serves as a chilling reminder that in the high-stakes world of entertainment, talent is often the least important factor in the eyes of the executives. We watched her perform with the hope that the system would recognize her greatness, but the system only recognizes what it can control. From the superfan mystery to the legal battles that forced her into silence, her journey has been anything but the fairy tale portrayed on screen. However, by embracing her independence and rejecting the standard industry path, she has achieved something far more valuable than a season win. She has kept her voice, her story, and her integrity intact. As she continues to perform in the shadows of her own choosing, one truth remains. The judges didn't save her because she was the only one in that room who didn't need saving. Jordan is a cautionary tale for the industry and a beacon of hope for the artist. The next time you see a golden buzzer, ask yourself, is it an opening door or a gilded cage?